This conference will now be recorded.
Hi friends, good evening in this Databricks Master program. So in today's session, we are going to talk about how you can integrate your Data Factory with Databricks. So as part of this, we are going to see accessing a Databricks notebook with input and output parameters. So what I wanted to do, I want to call my Databricks notebook from Data Factory. So when I'm calling the Databricks notebook from Data Factory, I'm going to pass some input parameters. Example, so I have a different folders in my data lake storage Gen 2. Example, I have partitions, year, month, day partitions. Let's consider a this year partitions. 2021 is the my root folder. Inside that I have a month folder. This is 01. Inside month folder, I have a day folders, example 01, 02, 03 up to today 23rd. So I have a 23 folders inside 01 folder because all these 21 days belongs to the first month. Okay, this first month is in which year? 2021. So that's why you will have a 2021 year. Inside that you will have a month folder. Inside that you will have a day folders. Now, for which date I want to process the data. Example, I want to process data for yesterday. So I need to pass 2021 slash 01 slash 22. So that is the date that I need to pass it to the my Databricks notebook, so that my Databricks notebook will understand that this is the partition it has to read. It will read that particular partition of data, and it will do all the transformations that we have discussed, and after that result it is going to write it back to the maybe another layer. You can say some process layer, wherever you want to write, you can write the data. So once it has written the data successfully, I want to send some output. So maybe you can say Databricks notebook execution successful, something like that. Some output I want to send it. Okay, maybe you want to say the number of records which I've written to my process layer is equal to some 1 billion. So that 1 billion number I want to send it. Let's say I have written just some 1 million records to my output folder. So 1 million records I've written to the output folder. So this is the message I want to return to my Data Factory. Okay, where we are calling this Databricks notebook. So to that particular place, I want to return this output, how you can return. So all these things we will discuss. Let's start. So in today's session, we will learn Data Factory integration with Databricks overview diagram we will discuss. Then we will talk about mount data lake storage Gen 2 in Databricks. The reason why we need to mount it, we already learned how you can mount blob storage, data lake storage Gen 1, Gen 2. Okay, so SQL database. So many things we discussed, isn't it? So now today we are just using same mount point for reading the data from data lake storage Gen 2. So what kind of data I need to read? Based on the dynamic parameters. So dynamically I'm going to get some partitions data. Partition means I want 2021 01 22nd data I want to read. Maybe next time somebody may send, let's say 2021 01 23rd, meaning today data. If you want to process, then you need to send 2021 01 23rd, you need to send. So likewise I'm going to receive the dynamic data I'm going to receive dynamically as an input. So this state I need to append to my actual path to read the actual data, So mount data lake storage Gen 2 in Databricks. We are going to mount this particular data lake storage Gen 2 in Databricks. Once we mount it, then we can able to read the data which we have in data lake storage Gen 2. Then we are going to see call Databricks notebook from ADF V2 pipeline. So we have a Azure Data Factory pipelines. So from Azure Data Factory pipelines, how you can call Databricks notebook, we will learn. Then we will see configure set variable activity. Basically, why I'm going to use set variable activity to set what date you want to send it. What date you want to send it, that particular value I will set it by using a activity called set variable activity. You can just generate dynamic date here as well. Then we are going to see once we generate some date, that particular date I will pass it to my Databricks notebook. Okay, pass input to Databricks notebook. This particular data I will pass as input to my Databricks notebook. Then I am going to see reading Databricks notebook output. So Databricks notebook will execute, it will generate the output. That particular output, I want to read it from the data factory. So how you can read that particular output? So we will see. Then configure notebook activity. How you can call that particular Databricks notebook, we will discuss. Create logs table and store procedure. Basically, what I wanted to do, once I receive the output from my Databricks notebook, that output I want to log it into my log table. I want to log this message into my log table. How you can log this particular message into log table is by using a activity called stored procedure activity. I'm going to log these details into log table. Then configure stored procedure activity. How you can configure the stored procedure activity, how you can pass the inputs to stored procedure activity, we are going to discuss. Schedule jobs in Azure Databricks. So this is one way, right? Like scheduling the Databricks notebooks from Azure Data Factory is one way. But I have seen 99.99% people are scheduling jobs from the Azure Data Factory. The reason is many. Okay, the reason is many because you can generate a lot of the things, like you can pass dynamic values. But if you schedule these jobs, these notebooks within a Azure Databricks, the problem is you need to hard code the values. I will show you those things practically. Okay, that's why mostly 99% people are going to configure the Databricks notebook executions, or they are going to schedule these Databricks notebooks in Azure Data Factory, not in a Azure Databricks. Schedule jobs in Azure Databricks. How you can schedule these jobs in Azure Databricks, we will learn. Finally, we are going to talk about required resources. Okay, what are the required resources we need to do this particular lab? Okay, fine. So Azure Data Factory integration with Azure Databricks. So first, I need to have a Azure Databricks. Okay, so first my Azure Databricks should connect to the data lake storage, because what kind of data, what partitions it is reading doesn't matter. That is depends on the input. But first Databricks should connect to my data lake storage Gen 2, because in data lake storage Gen 2 I have all the data. But how we can connect to the data lake storage Gen 2 from Databricks is, there are two ways. One is direct connection, second one is mount point. So we are using a mount point because that's how we will connect in real time also. Okay, now mount point, when you are creating, you need to use something called app registration, application ID, directory ID, secret. So application ID, directory ID, you can hard code it, but secret you should not hard code. That is little bit secure. So how you can secure those kind of sensitive information? I'm going to use something called keyword. Okay, now what I will do, I will just keep the required app registration or required secret for my data lake storage Gen 2. Okay, I need a secret to connect to my data lake storage Gen 2. That particular secret I will keep it in my keyword. How you will get that secret? From the app registration. We discussed all those things. That secret, if I store it in a keyword, from the keyword my Databricks will read that particular secret, and it will create the mount point to read the data from data lake storage Gen 2. Okay, this is one thing. Now I have a notebook which is already mounted, but this particular notebook I want to schedule, I want to run, I want to pass dynamic parameters. Based on the parameters, this Databricks notebook should run. So for that, I'm going to use a data factory. This data factory, what it will do, data factory first, it should connect to the Databricks. Data factory should connect to the Databricks. How it will connect to the Databricks? From Databricks, you are going to take something called token. Okay, token. The token you take from Databricks, store it in a keyword. From the keyword, Azure Data Factory will read that particular token. Once data factory read that particular token, data factory can able to call those notebooks by passing the inputs. Without passing inputs also, you can call the Databricks notebooks if the Databricks notebook is not expecting any input. But most of our notebooks will expect inputs. So I'm going to pass some input. Maybe I can just pass my partition data as the input to this Databricks notebook. Then with that particular partition details, Databricks notebook will connect. Okay, will connect to the data lake storage Gen 2, and it will read data into Databricks. Okay, it is reading data into Databricks. Once it read the data into Databricks, it will process that data and it will store this data back to the data lake storage Gen 2. Now that output I want to write back to my data factory. That output I want to write back to the my data factory. So inside data factory, I will get this output. What I need to do with this output is basically that output I will take, that you can call it as status, and I will store it in a something called Azure SQL database. I will take that and I will store it in a Azure SQL database. To store that output in Azure SQL database, to store those logs in Azure SQL database, I am going to create a something called log table for storing this information, to fetch data to fetch logs from data factory and store it in a log table. To do this particular activity, we need a activity called stored procedure activity. I'm going to use the stored procedure activity within the data factory. Okay, I know it will be little bit confusing for most of you, but everything will be clarified once I discuss the lab. Okay, but anybody have any specific question? Okay, if no questions, that's all. I hope everybody's clear on this. Please let me know if you are not clear on this. I can explain this particular diagram once again if you want. Anybody need one more time explanation? Please let me know, friends. Feel free to ask. Devendra, Murli, Nagaraj, Netra, Ratnaraj, Shiva, Sudhir, Vinod, Abhishek, Anji, Bharat. Okay, so some people are requesting me to explain once again. So this diagram is very important, friends. So that's why let's spend some time in this particular diagram, because once you understand this particular diagram, it will be very easy for you to understand the things. Yeah, so what you need to understand is, see, Azure Data Factory integration with Azure Databricks. I have a Azure Databricks. Okay, first I need to connect to the data lake storage gen 2 for reading the data. So I don't want to hard code any credentials to connect to the data lake storage gen 2. So you know how you can get the application ID, directory ID, secret, all those things to connect to the data lake storage gen 2 from Apple Station, isn't it? So now those secrets I need in Azure Databricks to connect to the data lake storage gen 2. But how Azure Databricks can get those things? I can able to hard code it, but I don't want to hard code those secrets. That is sensitive information. I don't want to expose to the outside people. So I want to secure those sensitive information. How you can secure those information is, you can just store that particular secret in a keyword. From keyword, Azure Databricks will read. So we already learned how you can read all these things. Okay, this is step one. We have a data in data lake storage gen 2. To read that data, Databricks should connect to the data lake storage gen 2. So for that, whatever keys required, whatever secrets is required, those secrets I'm storing in a key vault instead of hard coding in my Databricks notebook. Okay. Now I want to schedule this notebook for reading the data, for doing some kind of a transformation, writing data back to the data lake storage. And for that, I'm going to use a service called Azure Data Factory. Okay, so within Azure Data Factory, from Azure Data Factory, I can able to call the Databricks. How you can call the Databricks notebooks from Azure Data Factory is, first you need to connect to the Azure Databricks workspace. And you need to select the cluster on which cluster you want to execute. We talked about multiple clusters, all purpose cluster, job cluster. Now what you need to do, you just take the token from Azure Databricks, use that particular token in data factory to connect to the Databricks. Okay, so if you take that particular token and store it in a keyword, from the keyword Azure Data Factory can read that particular token. Once it read that particular token, I can able to write that, then I can able to connect to the Azure Databricks workspace. So then you select a notebook which you want to execute from ADF, and you can pass the inputs to that particular notebook. Okay, in our case, notebook is expecting partition data. Okay, for which date you want to process the data, so that I will pass it. So once Databricks is get that particular partition data, it will read the data from data lake storage gen 2 and it will process that data. Then we are going to write that output back to the data lake storage gen 2. So once I have successfully written data into data lake storage gen 2, maybe you can say successfully written the data. If you want to say the number of records, you can just mention the number of records. I have written these many records. So that particular count you can able to that particular count you can return to the Azure Data Factory. What Azure Data Factory can do? Azure Data Factory can collect all this output, right? This output now I can store it in a MySQL database. Okay, how you can store this particular output which you have received from Databricks notebook into Data Factory in SQL database is by using a stored procedure. By using a stored procedure, what you can do is take the output that Azure Data Factory has received from Databricks. From Databricks, Azure Data Factory is going to receive output. Take those output and pass it to the stored procedure. Stored procedure internally can insert those messages into your log table. I'm going to show you how you can create that log table, how you can insert the records into that log table. Okay, so but this is the overview diagram that you need to understand. Okay, now I will explain step by step remaining things, but everybody is clear now.
Clear, Malay.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on. See now, mount data lake storage into in Databricks. So this is how we have mounted, right? So we have given application ID here, then we have given here like our secret name. Okay, this is your scope name, this is your secret name. Then here you can see this is our directory ID. Directory ID and application ID we outputted, but secret we are reading from the key vault. Next. So this is basically my container name. This is my storage name. So whatever container name you have, same name you need to provide as a mount name. Okay. These configurations I am passing here. This is how you need to create the mount point. Once you create mount point, so can you tell me what is mount point here? /mnt/cloud pandit. Okay. So in this particular mount point, whatever subfolders we have, whatever files we have, everything is accessible from Databricks now. So now what I want to do, I want to do something like this. See, so source path /mnt/cloud pandit raw data is my folder. From raw data, I want to load data into processed data folder. Okay, from raw data folder, I need to pick the data and load it into processed data folder. But now my question is, which table? So table, I need to get it dynamically. Partitions, I need to get it dynamically. Okay. So see, table name is cust. Example I have given. Table name is cust. Partitions, for which date you want to process? 2021-01-23. So for this particular date, I want to process the data. So I'm going to get this 2021-01-23 partition dynamically. Table name also I'm going to get it dynamically. Cust is the table name that I'm going to get it dynamically. So this is what my source path. Now I want to define my destination path. Destination path is same, process date, table name is exactly same, cust table, and partition is same. So you read data from raw data folder for particular partition and write same data into process data folder with the same partition folder. So 2021-01-23. Okay, so once you create mount point, on top of mount point you can just access the all subfolders like raw data folder, process data folder. Inside raw data folder I have multiple tables, so that, but I am focused on cust table. Inside cust table I have a different data like customer data you have received on maybe 2010. Okay, from 2010 onwards you are getting the data you want to process for particular date. Example, customer is asking you to process for today data, so you need to pass today date 2021-01-23, so that you will go and pick only that particular day data, and once you read that data you can write it into this particular folder. But we discussed all the transformation that we need to do in between reading and writing. Just see, we don't have much time, so for that I just have taken reading and writing data in this particular lab. But you know already how you can implement all the things, isn't it? STD1, STD2, everything we discussed. Okay, fine. Next, call Databricks notebook from ADF v2 pipeline. So how to call Databricks notebook from ADF v2 pipeline? So first you try to understand my Azure Data Factory pipeline will look like this. So first I'm going to use the activity called set variable activity. It is going to set the date for which date I want to process the data. So notebook, it is the notebook activity which is going to call Databricks notebook. and when this notebook activity is executing, this notebook activity is going to receive the output from this set variable. What is the output of this set variable? Date it is going to give. But this notebook is expecting two things, if you remember, table name and a partition. So partition date, you will get it from this activity. But what is the table name? Table name, you can hard code it or you can pass it from the metadata table. Then once you process output of this notebook activity, I need to pass it to the stored procedure. The stored procedure will pick those output and insert into the SQL database table. But we will explore one by one activity now. Let's see set variable activity configuration, how you can do. See, this is the set variable activity. So you need to give the variable you need to define in a pipeline level. So I will tell you, once you define a variable in a pipeline level, that variable it will show here. Okay, my variable. To this I'm saying format data UTC now. Generate the current UTC time. Generate the current UTC date. So once it generate the current UTC date, and it is going to return in this particular format YYYY/mm/dd. So if you want in a day, month, year format, you can say dd/mm/YYY. But I want what? Because I have a folders year, inside year I have a month, inside month I have a day. So that's why year/month/day. This is how I'm going to generate the date by using a set variable activity within Azure Data Factory. Okay, so when I generate this, when I just give this, what it will return? My output is something like this: name equal to my variable, value is 2021/01/23. The output value is 2021/01/23. Okay, this is the date it will give. So if you ask something like this, today date it will give. Now let's move on. Configure notebook activity. See, first thing you need to understand, we need to open a something called widgets. We need to open a something called widgets in the Databricks notebook. So db-utils.widgets.text. So what it means, so you are just defining the input parameter. Input parameter is processor date. So for this same processor date, you need to set the actual date. So once you pass the input for this particular variable, okay, for this particular widget name, you need to read whatever data you have passed to this processor date. How you read? db-utils.widgets.get processor date, meaning whatever value you have passed to this particular widget name, that value will be assigned to the partitions variable. Same as table name. So you just pass a table name, that table name will be available here. So to read that particular table name, you need to say db-utils.widgets.get table name. So that table name value I am assigning back to the table name variable. Now how to pass it to the notebook? You see, this is the notebook. You have process underscore date. Exactly when you are creating base parameters, when you are calling this Databricks notebook, right? You see Databricks notebook path, you need to select notebook path. I will tell you how you can select. Simply click browse. It will show you all the notebooks which are available in your Azure Databricks. Now you just select the process underscore date. Why only process date? Because widget name, you see widget name is process underscore date. So you need to give exactly process underscore date. What is the process underscore date? 2021/01/23. Here what I'm doing, I'm hard coding. But without hard coding, you can pass the output of set variable activity to here. I will tell you. But table name equal to cust. I just hard coded here, isn't it? But without hard coding, I want to pass it my previous activity output to here. So you can do that. I will explain it. But you see, processor date means it should be exactly match processor date. Table name means table name names. The value that I'm setting for this processor date is 2021/01/23. The value that I'm setting for table name is cust. So once I set values, I am reading get whatever value I set for this particular processor date. So in these partitions, what I will have in these partitions? Can you tell me what I will have in that partitions? Many people are there, but nobody is answering. Tell me, Prince. Tell me.
Once again, explain what I didn't get.
Okay, whoever understood, please answer first, Prince. I will explain you later. Can you tell me? Yes, somebody told date, but what is the date? Can you speak out?
Current UPC current date.
Okay, so in this partitions I will have 2021 01 23, because this is the date I am setting to this process underscore date. When you set this particular date to process underscore date, so same value I am reading and assigning to a variable called partitions. In the same way, cust is the value that I am setting to table name. A table name. So that table name, what is the value that I have assigned to this table value? That value I'm just getting. Once I get that value, I'm assigning to a table name. Now table name equal to cust will be there, partitions equal to 2021 01 23 will be there. Okay, clear, Murli?
Yes, Malaya.
Next. See, configure notebook. So this is the notebook. See, output of previous activity I'm going to pass at the rate variable of my variable. Okay, so this is the output of previous activity. What is the previous activity? Set variable activity. That activity output I'm passing here at the rate variable of my variable. Okay, clear? So what will be the output? So when it is executed, so it is going to give you some run page URL. Then whatever output you sent, run output, I sent a notebook executed successfully. This is the output I sent from the notebook. That output will come here. Notebook executed successfully will come. Okay, if I say count the number of records equal to 1 million, that 1 million number will come as a your run output. Whatever returned from notebook, that will come as a run output. Run page URL will come automatically. This URL will have a complete information. So that's why when you are taking this information output, notebook output information into your log table, you need to take run page URL plus run output. Both I will take, because after a few days your client or your architect or whoever it may be, somebody comes and tell, oh, I think a few days back some process failed, we did not notice and we are running. So what we can do, we can just take this URL from that particular log, and we can review all the commands, all the cells that has executed on that particular day. So we will come to know whether really notebook failed or not for that particular day. Okay, that's why this URL is very important. We can collect it and store it in a log table. Next, create logs table and store procedure. See, so create table notebook logs. Okay, so this is the table. This is how we will create the table, right? Create table notebook logs. Log ID int not null, identity column 1, 1. So log ID will be generated automatically. Message name, whatever output comes, that output I'll just put it here. Run details, that URL, whatever URL I mentioned, right? That is very important. So run details means that URL I will mention in this third column. But you know already how to get the ADF name, pipeline name, run ID, all those things, right? You can just include all the things in this particular data factory. Now you just see here, so this is the stored procedure. Create a proc, this is the stored procedure name. This stored procedure is going to take two inputs. One is message name, meaning whatever output I got it from my database notebook. Okay, that is the output. Next, run details, that is nothing but a URL and my database notebook output. Both I am going to pass it to this particular table. Okay, it will insert into notebook logs. Values are message name and run details. Okay, these two parameters I will pass it, so that these two messages will be inserted into this table. Okay, any question?
Clear, Malaya.
Okay, thank you. Let's click on this. Yeah, so configuring stored procedure activity. Now you see, okay, so I have a stored procedure. If you remember, you see here, this is the stored procedure which require message name and the run details, isn't it? So what you are doing, this message name and run details, you are inserting into notebook logs table. You see, this is the table you have created. Into this table, you are inserting these messages you are passing. But how you will call this stored procedure? How you will pass these two messages? I will show you now. See, this is the stored procedure activity in Azure Data Factory, and you need to select your node stored procedure name and message name and run details. Message name means how you will get this message name at the rate activity of your notebook name, notebook activity name dot output dot run output. When you say run output, actual message will come. So run details, for that I need to say in notebook output we have something called run page URL. That URL I need to pass it to run details parameter. Okay, so if I pass the actual values to these two parameters, those two parameters will insert the actual message into the log table. Okay, so required resources for me is Azure Databricks. I need Azure Data Factory, Data Lake Storage Gen 2, app registration, and Azure Keyword, Azure SQL database. So all these things I need. You know Azure Databricks, where we are going to create clusters, and notebooks, Data Factory, where from where we are going to call these particular Databricks notebooks, and where we are going to schedule it. Data Lake Storage Gen 2, where we have a actual data. App registration, we need to connect to the Data Lake Storage Gen 2. Okay, with the of Azure Active Directory, we are going to authenticate the required permission to the Data Lake Storage Gen 2. Keyword, where we are securely storing our secret. SQL database, it's a database where we can maintain all our metadata, or we can say all the logs, or whatever you want to maintain, you can maintain in a Azure SQL database. Okay, so these are the slides I have. Okay, friends, any questions before I start with the
Clear, Malaya. No questions.
Okay, thank you. Bharat, any questions? Devendra, Lee, Nagraj, Neta, Ratnraj. And let me just go and create the resources one by one. So you know already how to create all these resources, because since like last few days we were creating, right? So let's create quickly one by one. Click on Azure Databricks. Click add to create the Azure Databricks first. Create a resource group. Cloud Pandey. Databricks master program. Okay. Click OK. Cloud Pandey. ADB. In which location is to S, you know all these things, remaining things you know, right? Just let me click review plus create. Click create. Okay, come here, let me just open portal.azure.com. Let's create our Azure Data Factory. Okay, how you can find the Data Factory service? You can just search here, Data Factory, click on Data Factories, click add to create the Data Factories. Okay, this is a subscription. You can use the same resource group. Okay, in East to West, you just give the Data Factory name, Cloud Pandit ADF. Okay, ADF today date, let me give to make it unique 0123. Okay, this is the Data Factory service. Git configuration. So Data Factory is a code free, right? So completely code will be generated in back end. That code, if you want to put it directly in a version control tools like Azure DevOps or GitHub, you can able to use this. But when we don't want to use this, you can say I want to configure later. You just click that, click review plus create. Create it. Now come here. Let me create now our data source, where we are going to keep all our data in Data Lake Storage Gen 2. So you know how you can create the Data Lake Storage Gen 2. Let's create Data Lake Storage Gen 2 now. Click on storage accounts. Click add to create the Data Lake Storage Gen 2. Use same resource group. Okay, storage account name, I can say Cloud Pandit ADLS V2 store. Okay, V2 store, I think somebody is taken. Let's say ADLS V2, yes, it is there. Click Okay, networking, all these things you know, right? So in advanced tab, what we need to do, so the difference between data lake storage Gen 2 and blob storage is it's a hierarchical namespace, but blob storage is not, right? Just click review the screen. Blob storage is a flat file namespace. Now, so we have created all the resources, but to store the secure data, we need a something called Azure Key Vault. Okay, we need a something called Azure Key Vault. Let's click on keywords to create the Azure Keyword service. Click add to create the Azure keyword. Okay, this is the resource group and keyword name. I'll just say Cloud Pandit AKV. I'll just use today date. Make sure that this is unique. This name is there. Just click review plus create. Okay, so what else you can do basically, if you want to grant permission, if you want to allow data factory to access the secrets which we are storing, you can just add this particular data factory name in a keyword. Okay, take this data factory name, go to keyword. Okay, come back, go back, go back further, back. So in access policy, you can add access policy. So here what you can do, key secret management, you can just say select to whom you want to give full permission to access secrets, keys, certificates. Is I want to give full permission to my data factory. Add this data factory, click select. But basically, I'm going to use only secrets. If you want to give only secrets, you can select secrets only. Okay, you can just give like that. Now I just added my data factory. You can see that. Click review plus create. You can create it. Okay. Now come here. It's a total.azure.com. So now to connect to the Azure Data Lake Storage Gen 2 from my Databricks, what I need to do, I need to create a mount point. How you will get that application ID, all those things from the app registration. We need to do the app registration. Click on app registration. Click new registration. Okay, you can say Cloud Pandit user. Okay, Cloud Pandit user. Just click register. Cloud Pandit user. Now I have everything is ready. So once I get the output, I want to store some logs. So to store the logs, I need to create a log table, and to insert these log messages into log table, we need a stored procedure. To create log table and stored procedure, what we need to maintain the SQL database. Let's quickly find out here SQL database. Click on SQL database. Click add to create the SQL databases. This is the resource group. Okay, my database name, you can say Cloud Pandit SQL DB. I want to create this server. Click create new server. I can say Cloud Pandit SQL server. And okay, somebody has taken this name. You can say Cloud Pandit 1 SQL server. Yes, it will be available. Yes, enter username. Let me enter password here. Okay, so I entered password. Just click OK. Then you know other things. Just click review plus create. Click create. Okay, so now I have created almost all the services. Okay, let's start with actual diagram. Okay, so what I will do, I'll just go one by one. So based on our diagram, we will just go and do the lab. Okay, so it will be easy for us to understand the things. Let me Okay, so in this, you can see in this particular diagram, okay, in this particular diagram, you see first I need to open the Azure Databricks. I have all the services are available, but first I need to open the Azure Databricks. Let me go to Azure Databricks. Okay, just click go to resource, click launch workspace. Sometimes it will take more time to open. Okay, if it is taking more time to do one thing, just close this, click launch workspace once again. Yes, it is coming up now. Yes, it came up. Okay, fine. Okay, we are here. So we discussed all these things. Let's create the cluster that we need first. Okay, in this, let's create the cluster. Okay, Cloud Connect demo, you know, I'm just using single node cluster. Okay, all rest of the things we know. I'll just configure it to 60 minutes, create cluster. Okay, so because if we discuss each and everything, it will take more time. So we already discussed many times all these things. Let's come to workspace. Okay, here I'll just create some folder. This folder is, you can say this is a phase one. Phase one. Create a folder inside phase one. So this is maybe you are at ETL team. You are in a ETL team. Just create a ETL team folder. So in this ETL team folder, I want to create my actual notebook. Okay, just click on this to create your notebook. Let's create a notebook. What is this notebook all about? This notebook basically tells you, okay, to do the demo. Okay, Cloud Pandit, or you can say read, write files of ADLS Gen 2, read, write ADLS Gen 2 files. Okay, read, write ADLS Gen 2 files. This is my notebook. Okay, so in which language? Python. On which cluster I want to execute on this cluster, you know, create it. Okay, so now what I wanted to do, now go back to your diagram. Sorry, go to your diagram. You see, this is Databricks. First we have opened, we set up the cluster, we set up the notebook. Now next thing that we need to get is we need to get the data lake storage Gen 2. Okay, let's go back to the data lake storage Gen 2. Okay, this is my Databricks is ready now. Let's go to storage account where we have created storage account. I have created here. Okay, just to bring the storage account front, click go to resource. Let's set up this particular storage account now. Okay, what kind of setup we need to do for this storage account is, now first thing we need to get the app registration. Where is app registration? So this is app registration. Okay, bring it to front. So this app registration should have a permissions to access data lake storage Gen 2. So what you need to do, you need to add this user in data lake storage Gen 2. Go to access control IAM. We have done all those things. I'll just quickly complete this role assignment. What role we need to grant here for data lake storage gen? Do you remember? So storage blob, see, storage blob data contributor access you need to grant, and for which user? So Cloud Pandit user. Okay, here is the app registration. This is the app registration. Select this, click save. Okay, now my app registration has the required permissions to access my data lake storage gen 2. Okay, now go inside data lake storage gen 2. Sorry, just to go inside data lake storage gen 2. How you will go? Click on containers. Let's click on container here. You can say my root folder is Cloud Pandit. Inside Cloud Pandit, go inside this. You just create a you can just create some subfolders like raw data. Another folder you can say save it. Another folder you can create here processed data. So raw data, processed data. I have two folders. In raw data, we will load actual data. In processed data folder, we will actually write our output. I don't want to touch anything inside processed data folder. All the required folders will be created by my Databricks notebook. So that's why I won't touch my processed data folder. I'll go inside raw data folder. Now I'll just create multiple folders. Inside this we have a cust table, we have a employee table, you may have a multiple transaction table, order, sales, other tables you may have. Go inside this cust table. Let's create a year folder. Year is 2021. Inside year you have month folder. Okay, this is first month. Okay, let's say in this month, so I'm just processing data from 20th. Okay, from 20, then I can say again 21, again I can say 22, I can say again I can say 23, click save. Okay, see, till today, since last 4 days I want to process. You see, Cloud Pandit, the raw data folder. Inside raw data folder I have cust table. Inside this I have a year, month and a day folders. Day folders is I have 20, 21, 22, 23, meaning from 20th onwards I have a data. So let's go inside 20th folder. Let's upload some data into this. Okay, let's upload custom.csv. Refresh this to see that particular file. I think it did not come up, but this is uploaded. Okay, fine. So just click upload once again. Let's try to upload once again. So custom.csv. If the file is already there, overwrite if file already exists. But file is not there. Click upload, I think. See, file will came now. File came now. Okay. Let's open this custom.csv. Click edit. So this is the data. Just click preview. So this is my credit card information. I have some credit card information. Okay. Click OK. Go back. So on 21st, oh shit, this file is uploaded here. Okay, so I think previously uploaded file came here, but you see, go inside 20 here, we have still file custom.csv. Okay, let's go inside 21 folder. Let me upload data here. Let's upload custom.csv. I think here also we'll have same, but let's go with employee.csv. Okay, so fine. Let's close this. This employee.csv will have some other data, I guess. So you have some other data. Let's okay, so I just wanted to give some knowledge, that's why I'm just uploading different data, but in reality we'll have a same structure data in all the folders. Okay, you can just say orders.csv. Okay, let's click on orders.csv. You have some orders. Close it. Click on 23rd folder. Go inside 23rd folder. Let's upload. Click this. You can say something like results.csv. So results.csv is having the same credit data. Okay, I know this 100% it has a credit data. Yes, see credit card details. Okay, something credit data. So we set the actual like storage account as well. Now I want to read this particular data from Databricks. What you need to do? Now let's go to the diagram. Okay, we have Databricks. We set up the data lake storage. Now we have a key vault. Inside key vault, I need to store the required secrets to connect to the data lake storage into. Okay, let me go to here. Go to key vault. Okay, this is basically app registration. This is my key vault, isn't it? So go inside this key vault. Let's store the required information. Let's store the required information. Okay, how to store the required information? So go inside secrets. Click generate/import. So here I need to put what? Here what I need to put? Here I can say ADLS. Okay, secret. Okay, this is what I think. Not telling these things. Okay, so Cloud Pandit ADLS Gen2 secret. Okay, this is my actual secret name. Here I need to put the secret. So how to get that secret? Click on see. I came to the app registration again. Click on certificates and secrets. Okay, new client secret. New client secret. You just give some description. Password for Gen2. 1 year it will be valid. We discussed all these things. Value you take and keep it here and create it. Okay, this is done. Now you come here, see, I have stored my secret in my keyword. Now what I need to do from my data, from my Databricks, I should be able to connect to the keyword by reading the secrets from keyword. Okay, now what you need to do, Databricks should be able to read the secrets from the keyword. To do that, we need to create a scope in a Databricks. Let's go back to the Databricks. Let's go back to the Databricks. We need to create a scope. How to create scope? After .NET, just remove this. You put hash secrets slash create scope. And done. So we need to read the secrets from the keyword. For that, see scope name. Scope name you need to remember AKV connection, Azure keyword connection. Okay, please remember this is very important. Azure keyword connection. So who all can access? All users or creator? We discussed creator means only if you have created a Databricks workspace in premium pricing tab, it will be allowed. All users is allowed in both the cases. DNS name and resource ID of keyword. Keyword DNS name and resource ID. We need to get it. So this is the keyword. Go to properties to get those two. Okay, select this. Select this value URI. Come here, put that here. Go to keyword, take the resource ID, come here, put this resource ID here, create it. So this name you need to remember AKV connection, isn't it? Now we also connected. Okay, so I have stored the secret in keyword. From keyword, okay, my Databricks connected to the keyword. Now only thing that Databricks should do is Databricks should establish the connection to my data lake storage Gen2 by reading the secret from keyword. Okay, let's go back to here. Let's click on this particular notebook. Okay, so what we need to do now? What all things we need to know to create the mount point? We need to create the mount point. So but what all things we need to create the mount point for data lake storage and to tell me friends. We discussed all these things. Please tell me what all things we need. You remember? Anybody remember? Okay,
Yeah,
okay, fine.
container.
Okay, if you did not remember, that's okay. You see I just paste here all the things you need to remember. See, this is the code, right? In this, what we need, application ID, we need to get it. Okay, how to get that application ID? Go to here. Okay, go to here. Let's click on overview. In this app registration, we'll have a application ID, directory ID, all those things. See, this is the application ID. Copy this, go to notebook and replace here application ID. Okay, go here again, take the directory ID, come here, replace here. Okay, next, take the scope. What is the scope? AKV connection. Key. What is the key? What is the key? Key is nothing but a secret from Azure Key Vault. Come here, click on secrets. So this is your actual secret name. Okay, take this name and provide here. Okay, you are done with this configuration. Now come to the second part. Here you need to set your storage account name. What is the storage you are trying to mount? Okay, this is the storage. Cloud Pandit Data Lake Storage Gen 2. This is the storage I want to mount it. Okay, remove this and place this. Okay, next, what is the file system you are trying to mount? We have only one file system I have created, Cloud Pandit. This I want to mount it. Okay, just put that here. Same thing you need to give here. Okay, so with this you are done with the mounting. Okay, just execute this to create the mount point. Let's execute this to create the mount point. Okay, so it is creating the mount point. Meanwhile, I'll just tell you how you can create the widgets. Very simple. dbutils dot widget dot text. What type of widget? It is basically taking the text. So I can say process underscore date. Okay, the default value is empty. I don't have any default value. In the same way, I want to get the my table name as well. Okay, I can say source table name, something like this. I'm going to open the two widgets. You see here, mount point is true, it's created. Now I'm going to open the two widgets. These are my two inputs. Okay, so I just created the two inputs, and then let's say you just execute this two. See, two widgets will open here. See, these are the widgets. Now I'll just pass some value 20, 21, 01, 23. Okay, source table name I will say cut. These values I want to read. How you will read is same. You can say partitions. Partitions equal to dbutils dot widgets dot get. Okay, so what value you want to get? Whatever value you set for process date, that I need to get. In the same way, just copy this and paste it here. This is whatever value set for source table name. Source table name, I will get that and assign to a variable called table name. Okay, let's execute this. Now can you tell me what I will have in partitions, what I will have in table name? Let's try to execute it and check partitions. What I will have, you check date. What I will have in table name? What I will have in table.
First will.
Okay, these are the input values that I have passed. Okay, but I don't want to pass it from here. I will tell you from where you need to pass it. Okay, just let me keep these things for now. Fine. Now I want to form my source file path, my destination file path. So my source file path, if you remember, this is my mount point I need to read, isn't it? Need to read place. I need to say raw data folder. You remember my folder name is raw data. Go here. See, go inside this. Inside this mount point, inside this we have a raw data folder. This raw data folder you want to read. Inside this cust is the one which I'm going to pass dynamically. So raw data folder, I need to get it dynamically. Okay, you need to say // place. I need to pass this table in. So after raw data folder, I have a cust. Okay, next. So what else we have after cust? Again you use /. Then what we have? We have actually a partitions. Inside cust we have a year, month, day. Those you will get it from this partitions. Okay, let's try to print this source file path and check what you got. You got the correct path or not? You check. Did you get correct path or not? Yes, I got the correct path, isn't it? I got the correct path. So I want to form my destination path. I want to form my destination path. The only change that you need to do is instead of raw data,
Process.
instead of raw data folder, you need to say process data folder. So remaining folders, I don't have remaining folders inside this process data. When you run your notebook, these folders will be created automatically inside this process data folder. Okay, this is basically my destination file path, destination file path or file location, you can say. Okay. And just to print a dest file path, you'll get this. Okay, process data cust 2021-01-23. Let's say if I say 24, what will happen? You see, let's execute this 24. Let's execute this 24, but this path is not available. I will get the error. If I say 22, okay, so 22 will be said. This I am executing, this I am executing, so it will be 22 will come. See, 22 is coming. Now I want to read the data from this source file path and I want to write it into this. I don't want to do any transformation in today's session. So you know how different syntaxes we have used. Format of, so what type of files we have uploaded? CSV. So whenever you are reading CSV, one option you need to use, as I said, header equal to true, because if you have headers in a CSV file, you need to set equal to true. You need to load the file from this source file path. Okay, let's say source file path df.show. Okay, let's run it. Okay, you see we have all these details. These are the records we have, because this is from what? This is from 22nd. Let's say I want to run from 23rd. Okay, I want to run it from 23rd. So let's read this source file path. It is 23rd. Let's read destination file path. Let's try to read the 23rd file. So 23rd we have this data. Now I want to write my data. Before I write my data, I'll say df.count. Okay, I'll just say number of records. Record count. Okay, record count. Record count is df.count. Now I'll just use this df. I'll just use this df to write my data into my destination. Write dot mode is overwrite mode. Always it should be a overwrite dot option header equal to true. Okay. Dot save. I want to save this thing in my dest path, dest file path. Take this and put that here. Okay. So, but this record count, I need to pass it as my output. I want to say output is this record count. How you can return output from this notebook is dv to start notebook dot exit. I want to exit this notebook by returning this particular record count. Okay, what I can do, I can say here notebook return record return record count return count is, I can say these many. Okay, I can say these many, but this should be string to append. This is basically number is coming, so I'm just converting into string to append to this. Okay, so this is how I will get the some final message. You will come to know notebook written record count equal to, if it is a 12 records, it will give 12. If it is a 13, 13 it will give. Okay, this is the line which is going to return the output from this particular notebook. I have not executed all these right lines, all those things, right? So I'll just see. Basically, you can just remove these dates and all, because I need to pass all these dates from where. So you know, you can have all these things. It will be confusing for you whether it took dates from here or from data factory. That's why I'm just removing the data from here. And this mount point is the only one time job. You just comment it. You no need to do again and again. Okay, you no need to do again and again. You just comment those things. Okay, fine. Now go to, yeah, let's go back. Yeah. So now what we need to do, we need to open the data factory. Okay, let's open data factory. Let's open data factory. Here is data factory. This is the data factory. Okay, once you open data factory, click on author and monitor. Okay, in this, once you open this particular data factory, what you need to do, so first you need to get the token from Azure Databricks, and you need to keep that particular thing in Key Vault. From Key Vault you need to read it into the data factory. Okay, let's do these steps quickly. So first thing, I need to get the token from the from the Databricks. Okay, so in this Databricks, click on this, click on user settings. We have a generate new token. Okay, it will give the some kind of a ADB token. Okay, so how many days it should be valid? Just you can say default 90. If you want to increase, you can increase. If you want to decrease, you can decrease. Okay, just click generate. So it will give this particular token. Copy this token. Go to your Azure Key Vault. Where is your Key Vault? Okay, this is the Key Vault. Generate/import. You can say here ADB token. ADB token. So what is the token? This is the token created. Okay, I brought the token, I got the token from Databricks stored in a Key Vault. From my data factory, I should be able to read it. Okay, click on manage tab, click on new linked service, select your what you need to select, you need to select Databricks. Okay, let's say Azure Databricks. So you are not getting Azure Databricks, right? So probably you see it's not a data store. So go to compute. Here we have a computational services. So machine learning, Azure HDFS, all these things we are going to discuss now. So Azure Databricks, select Azure Databricks, click continue. This is what linked service. ls underscore Azure Databricks. Okay, workspace one. You can say workspace one. So by using a Azure integration runtime, from my subscription, I'm going to identify the resources. My subscription is Azure subscription one. My workspace is, this is the workspace I have created. So now you can see, do you want to execute your job on a new job cluster? You want to use existing interactive cluster which you have created. I want to execute my job on a my interactive cluster, not on job cluster. Okay, access token. So do you want to hard code it, or you want to read it from Key Vault? I want to read it from Key Vault. Click. Okay, let's connect to the Key Vault first. Click new. This is a ls for Azure Key Vault. ls for Azure Key Vault. So subscription is this. You know, this is identified through managed identity test connection. Connection successful. You can create it. Now secret name. What is the secret name I have given? Okay, let's see our ADB token. Okay, it's a ADB token. Just take this. Come here. Put that ADB token here. Okay. Next, you need to choose the cluster, because you selected existing interactive cluster, means you need to select that cluster which is available. That will be displayed here. So this is the only cluster which is available. You can select that. Test connection. Connection successful. You can create it. Okay. Now just to publish all these things. Publish means you are saving these changes. Now click on this author tab. You see author, manage, monitor, all these things. Click on author tab. So here you have multiple things to do. Let's create a pipeline. I need to create a data pipeline. Let's click pipeline. So pipeline will be created. Okay, so in this pipeline, first I'm going to use something like set variable activity. Okay, set variable activity. So these are activity. First, bring the set variable activity. What set variable activity will do, as we discussed, we will say cloud pandit set variable, set variable. Okay, so variable, it is not showing anything. The reason is you need to create the variable. How you will create variable? Click here in workspace. Okay, let's click variables. Here you need to create a variable. You can say cloud pandit variable, a cloud pandit variable. Okay, now I have created variable. Click on this set variable activity, go to variables. You will see this variable. What is the data? What is the value you need to set for this? Click add dynamic content. I want to set the value dynamically. So format date time. Okay, so I want to format the date, whatever date I'm generating. How will generate date is by using a UTC now function. So UTC now function will generate the date. So how you will generate is in which format you want: year, month, and day. Month should be capital MM, and day and year must be a small letters. Okay, click finish. I want to run this particular activity and check what is my output. Click debug. Okay, let's see the output. What is the output it has given? 20, 21, 01, 23. If this is the output that I need to pass it to my next activity. What is the next activity? So I need a something on notebook activity. Notebook, right? Just to bring this notebook activity here. So you can pass the output of this set variable activity to notebook. Okay, you can say notebook one. Okay, so you need to use the existing connection we just created, right? We connected to the Databricks by using token. So that connection you need to use here. Come to settings, you need to browse to your notebook. Which notebook you want to execute in phase one? ETL, under ETL team developed notebook is this, the notebook. Okay, this is the notebook we have. Click on this base parameters, click new. So you will not get anything here, any clue. You will not get any clue here. So what is the names you need to give is exact names you need to give. Go to recents, click on this notebook. So what is the widget names you have given? Processed underscore date. The same name you need to give here. Processed underscore date. Next, source table name. So these are the names you need to give. So processed underscore date, how you will get it? That is basically from variable. Select this, click finish. Next, source table name. So source table name is basically you need to give it dynamic. Okay, source table name is cust. Okay, cust is my source table. Process date is this is the processor date. This is a processor date. This is a source table name. Source table name I'm just outputting, but the processor date is I'm getting from the previous activity, that is set variable activity. Everybody is clear?
Yes, Malay.
Yes, sir.
Everybody is clear? Okay, thank you.
Malay, your voice is not.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Malay.
Okay. What I was trying to tell you is we connected to the Databricks. And we read the data from data lake storage gen 2 to the Databricks. And once we read it, and we are writing back to the data lake storage gen 2. Okay, then we can write this output into my data factory. I can write that output into Databricks is returning some output, right? We have seen in notebook that output I am returning to the data factory. Now data factory will get that output. We see till here, we will see first. Okay, let's see till here what will happen. Let's execute the pipeline and we will see how to execute pipeline. Let's click debug. Now let's go to the storage account. This is the storage account. Let's see, in this all the folders will come automatically. Okay, once the pipeline is executed. Okay, come here. See, this first activity succeeded. Now notebook is executing. Okay, see now notebook is executed successfully. Now let's click on this first activity input. Let's click on output of this first activity 2021-01-23. This is the variable. Okay, that is expected. Not this. Next, click on this. Here you see URL. Run page URL, run output. What is the output you got? Notebook written record count is 12. This is a message. This is the message. This is the output we have written. This is the output we are getting. This is the URL we are getting. This URL and this output I want to log it into my SQL database table. Okay, how to do that we are going to discuss. But before that, let's go to the storage account. Let's refresh this folders. In process of data, see cust folder came inside this 2021. Inside this 01 23rd. Okay, so this is the file we got. This is the file we got. Okay, because it's a Spark. When Spark is writing, all these metadata files will create. Okay, it will have all the part files it has generated, started, and success with the transaction. Okay, fine. Now, what I can do for you now? Let's delete this cust folder again. So if I delete cust folder, basically all inside folders will be deleted. Now process data folder again empty. Now this time, so final thing that we need to do is we need to connect to the SQL database. We need to connect to the SQL database from the data factory, and we need to execute the stored procedure. But before that, we need to create a log table and we need to create stored procedure. Let's quickly do those things as well. Let me connect to the SQL database. Click on, yeah, let's set server firewall first. Okay, turn on this, save it. Oh, sorry, add client IP, turn on this and save it. Okay, let's go back and check once again whether client IP added. See, client IP not added. Add client IP, save this. Okay, successfully added. Now click on query editor. Password. Let me enter my password. Let's create a table. You all know already how to create SQL table, right? Create table in notebook logs. I'll say log ID. Okay, int not null, and I can say it's basically identity column. This number should automatically start. This identity number should start from 1 and it has to increase by 1 every time when you record added. Next, message name. Okay, message name should be varchar of some, you can say 200, and then you can say run details. Run details means URL I need to add. This should be little bit lengthy, so I can say varchar of 500. Okay, let's run it. Table is created. Now I want to create a stored procedure. You know how to create stored procedure as well. Create proc. So this is the table name underscore USP, user defined stored procedure, as begin and end. So in between I need to use the insert into notebook logs table. Values I need to get it dynamically, isn't it? So message name I need to get it dynamically, so I can say @ message name, comma @ I can say run details. Okay, so these two things I need to put it here. At the rate message name, I can say var of 200. You can say this is how you need to define the stored procedure parameters as I have shown in the slide, right? So var of 500. Okay, this is how I have created the stored procedure and the table. Okay, now I'll just go to data factory. I will add the stored procedure activity. Search here, stored procedure. Bring the stored procedure activity here. Okay, so in this, you see, this is basically, you can say Cloud Pandit stored procedure. Cloud Pandit stored procedure. Come to settings. You have not connected to the SQL database. How to connect to the SQL database? We need to establish the connection. So for that, what you need to do, go to SQL database. Okay, go to SQL database. Click on connection strings. Okay, that's okay. You leave that blade. Okay, take this connection string. Okay, so I'll tell you quickly to do that. Open one notebooks. Okay, this is not required, just for some editing. So what you need to do in this connection string, you need to replace your actual password here. Okay, I'll just replace the password there and I will store it in a keyword. Okay, I just cutted here. That connection string I cutted here, so I need to paste it where? I need to keep that in a Azure keyword. This is the Azure keyword. Okay, this is, I can say, equal connection string CS. This is the connection string SQL-CS. Okay, this is the name I need to use. Let's connect to the SQL database from keyword. Click new linked service. This is what ls for. This is SQL DB. Okay, DB1. So this is SQL database auto integration. You know, Azure integration, auto reserve integration on time. So I need to read this connection string from the keyword. Okay, you just use this particular linked service. Secret name. What is the name we have given? Name we have given is SQL-CS. Just use SQL-CS. Test the connection. Connection successful. You can create it. Now so once you connect, you can able to see the stored procedure which you have created. This is the one. Let's import the parameter that it is expecting. These are the things. So, but what is the message name? What is the run details? Just click on this. Click on this notebook output. You see, run page URL is going to be your run details. Run output is going to be your message. Okay, run page URL I need to give. Okay, this activity dot output dot run page URL. This notebook activity dot output dot run output. Okay, that's how we need to give. Now you see what I'm going to do. Come here. Message name. Message name means just click on this. Click on notebook activity. This is the notebook activity dot output dot run out. Run output. Okay, this is the message. Next, to click on this. Click on add dynamic content. This is a notebook dot output dot run page URL. Click finish. This is how we need to pass it. Now just publish all these changes. Publish it. Let's go back to the SQL database once again. Connect to the query editor. Click OK. I am here. Let's check the tables list here. I have a notebook log. Select the start from notebook logs. Run it. See, affected rows 0 because we don't have any rows. Now I'll go to pipeline. Let's click debug pipeline. That's okay. Even if it is not published, we can run this particular pipeline. I just debugged. We'll see. So first, it is going to execute set variable activity, notebook activity will execute. Then stored procedure activity also will execute.
Malaya, we are copying data only 20.date. That's right.
Correct. Only we are processing that particular day data. See, everything is succeeded. First, let's go to the SQL database and run this particular table, we'll see notebook written records count is 12 and this is the URL. Okay, if you access this URL, anytime you can able to see all the result. Okay, log ID is 1. Okay, and everything is fine. Go here and inside process data folder, we should see all the folders again. Okay, this is the one. But let's say this time, basically what I can do, you can do many things, but for simplicity, instead of getting the reference from this activity, what I can do, I just can output this value. You can just do some -1 to go to the yesterday date, but for easy understanding, so I'm just outputting here 20 seconds. Okay, let's debug now. Notebook is executing. Once notebook is executed, see notebook is finished. Now go to process data, refresh this process data folder. You should see 20 seconds also. 20 seconds also I processed. Now go to SQL database. Let's run this notebooks logs. You see log ID is 2. It is saying notebooks record written is 5 records, and this is the run URL. Okay, you got all these details. Isn't it clear? Now quickly I will show you final thing. Come to jobs. In Databricks also you can schedule the jobs. Okay, let's click on create job. Okay, this I can say cloud funded. Okay, there is a cloud funded. Let it be cloud funded job created. So what is the notebook which you want to execute? This is the notebook which I want to execute. Select this notebook. And which cluster you want to execute? Click edit. I want to execute on an existing all purpose cluster. Click on. Now everything is done. You want to edit. What you want to edit here? What you want to edit here? So what you want to edit here is in these parameters, right? You need to give the parameters. What is the parameters? You remember? Go to data factory itself, it will tell you. So this is the process underscore date. Okay, so process underscore date, I can say 2021 01 21st. Okay, this is the one. Next parameter that I need to pass is source table. Source table name I need to set cust. Okay, cust. Confirm this. I pass these two parameters to this notebook. Where is that? Source table, I can say cust. I think we need to click add. Okay, I just added, click confirm. So I have added these two parameters to this notebook and I'm running on Cloud Pandit the demo. So you want to schedule it sometime, right? So every hour, or you can say every minute. Let's say I want to execute for every minute. Just click confirm. Okay. Now you just wait for 2 minutes. So job keep running for every every minute. So this is how you can able to schedule these Databricks notebooks from the Databricks itself. Let's wait for 1 minute. Click on jobs to see. See, job is currently, cluster is currently running. Come to jobs. Click on this job. It should pick every minute. We'll see. Maybe next within 7 or 8 seconds. It should pick. Let's see, job is started. You understood? By scheduler, job is started and it is running. It is running. Okay, it is finished. Now come here. Let's refresh. 21st folder should come. See, 21st folder came. You understood? 21st folder came. Next thing that you need to do, If something failed, I want to retry. Okay, let's say I want to retry 2 times. So if it is failed first time, wait for 10 seconds, then try. Again, if it is failed, wait for 10 seconds, try. So 2 times failed, then you stop it. Okay, like that you can able to do this retries. If you want to send alerts on starting the job, on success the job, on failure job, you can just give some kind of a mails, comma separated mails. You can give as many as you want. This is how you can able to schedule it from the database. But now finally from my Azure Data Factory pipeline, so date is, I will say 20. Okay, I want to schedule this particular pipeline. I want to schedule this particular pipeline. How you can create schedule is click add trigger, new slash edit. Okay, here we have a create trigger. This is cloud pandit trigger. Okay, schedule. I want to schedule. What time you want to schedule? Let me just go into INR. Oh, sorry, sir. It is basically IST, right? You can search like this Chennai. Chennai, Kolkata, you will get it. Okay. So what is time now in 9:02? Let's say here you just give here 9:04. I want to execute this. 9:04. I want to execute this. 9:04 p.m. Click OK. 9:04 p.m. Every 15 minutes I want to execute. Activate this trigger. Click OK. Okay. If you want to specify any end date till this particular date I want to do, so just specify. See tomorrow 3:32. Okay. If you want to increase to some other date, you can increase. Click OK. Click OK. You need to publish all. So if you publish all at 9:04, we schedule this pipeline. So at 9 o'clock 4 minutes, this particular pipeline is going to run. So this pipeline, what it will do, it is basically going to call your it will call your Databricks notebook. Now the time is 9:04. Let's go to monitor tab to see whether pipeline is already started running. See, pipeline is already started running with Cloud Pandit trigger. At what time? 9 o'clock 4 minutes. So what this pipeline is doing? This pipeline internally calling all our activities, meaning our notebook execution, everything is going to happen automatically. See, everything is done. Now come to like storage account. Refresh this process data folder. We have a 20th folder. 20, 21, 22nd, 23rd. We have everything. Next, you need to understand one thing finally. I'm not explaining anything. But here you see dynamically you are generating date and you are passing. What else you can do? You say something add date, and for the current date you can say -3. If you want to go 3 days back or something, you can able to do. But in Databricks here schedules. So if you want to create any, just click edit parameters. You see, is there anything? Do you have anything here like dynamically? Can you pass anything? No, it is not possible. So that's the reason we won't use these jobs. Mostly we will go with our data factory. Okay, clear friends? Can you
Yes,
stop
Malay.
to discuss other things?